What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite baller who happens to be on a budget. But today we're talking AFC West. The only one we have left after this is the North. You want to watch the NFC West? You go to Sports Beasts. And that just so happens to be who I'm joined with today is Corey motherfucking Lozier. So give a round of applause to him now.
What up?
Yeah, buddy. All right, let's hop right into this. First team we're talking about is the Kansas City Chiefs. We know what they can do. Finished last year 12-5. I thought their game last year in the AFC Championship to the Bengals was a stupid move. The moves they were making on goal line in that fourth quarter were crazy. I can't even. It's unexplainable. You don't know what was going through Mahomes's or Andy Reid's head, but. Obviously, Patty Mahomes, he was 150 yards or so short of having 5,000 yard season. So you obviously know what he can do. Running back Daryl Williams is now a Cardinal. So the main man will be Edwards-Helaire, should be the number one. Jeremy McKinnon is an amazing backup when he's healthy. We've seen what he can do with San Francisco. Helaire only played 10 games last year, so I'm assuming McKinnon will get some burn as well. There's no way Edwards-Helaire plays a full season, and regardless, this team doesn't really rely on the rushing anyways. The Cheetah is now a Dolphin, and this Chiefs team now has two number 2 receivers, and I'm talking Juju and MVS. Valdez-Scantling. I love his name. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Oh, mouthful. But Mecole Hardman's at the number 3 right now. And obviously the best tight end in the league, Travis Kelce. He's their number 1. And then I believe Juju and MVS is a number 2 on any other team. So one of those guys have to take a spot in the number 1 receiver slot. We know what Kelce does. On the defensive side, it'll be the demise of this team. That's all I'm going to say. It'll be the demise of this team. I've mentioned earlier in other videos and just mentioned in Corey's video 5 minutes ago, defense wins championships. Go into the draft. Let's look what they did in the draft, because I know their draft was pretty decent. They took a cornerback out of Washington, Trent McDuffie. It's going to start instantly for this defense. The main one I want to talk about is Sky Moore in the 2nd round, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, who has a good chance to step up and be a number 3 or number 4 for this team. I just think they're too loaded for Sky Moore to even do anything, but I mean, he's there, and Patrick Mahomes can make people look special. But also going backwards in time, back into the 2nd round, who I skipped over, is George Karlaftis. Butchered like a motherfucker, defensive end out of Purdue, which is good because they went defense clear up until the 5th round, which is exactly what they need. Other than Sky Moore in the 2nd, which I thought was a great wide receiver pick, but I just think it's too loaded in this offense for him to make a huge impact right now. So we'll go ahead and get into my questions for you, Corey. Will this league, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to phrase this question and sound more intelligent and then how I have it written. Will the league catch on to Patrick Mahomes like they caught on to Lamar Jackson?
That's going to be a tough one. If they do, it's going to take more time.
Which is crazy to say more time, because he's already been doing it for 4 years now.
Yeah.
For this league up. So that's why I have it worded weird, because he has been tearing it up. And if teams would have caught on, they would have caught on by now. But you got to think it's only a matter of time before teams are like, all right, let's sit the fuck down and stop him. Anything we got to do. Let's think of something nothing has ever been thought of before, maybe.
Yeah, but it's hard to stop soon to be one of the greats. I mean, you can see it now. He will be a great quarterback. And when I say more time, it's okay. When you think of Lamar Jackson, you think, all right, quarterback who also runs the ball. Simple. Load up the line, load up the box, whatever you got to do. That's going to stop him from running. Patrick Mahomes is different because he doesn't need to run. And even when he's out scrambling around, he's making crazy plays, crazy throws, basically sleeping on the job midair and still passing the ball. It's you can't stop something like
He's
that.
surrounded by talent to throw to. So I mean, it's so hard, and that's why I have it worded weird on here, and I was like, okay, this is gonna make me sound dumb because if they would have already caught on, they would have. But
Yeah,
I
if
just
they
think
can, they
it's only
will.
a matter of time before they put a fucking stop to it. I don't know how. I'm not smart enough. Some defensive coaches, hopefully, maybe, possibly are. Okay. My next question is, how will your old boy Juju do? Number one, number two for this team. Personally, do you think he's better than MVS? Like I said, somebody's obviously going to have to take the role as the number one receiver. Kelsey's in his own league. We all know that.
Yeah, like you said, on any other team, MVS and Juju are definitely number two. This team, because there's no Hill, that sounds weird. Because Tyreek isn't there anymore. um, Possibly last year, Juju ended up a little hurt, didn't really play much, but when he was in and actually active, he doesn't do that bad. Will he be the number one? That's going to be tough to say. On this team with Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be whoever he's feeling that day. Because you have a speedster like McCole Hardman who has the quickness like Tyreek Hill did, who I think could excel on this team or can continue to excel on this team. But he also knows the offense. He knows the organization. He knows what they're doing. MVS, yes, they know football. MVS and Juju are coming in. First year with the new team. So maybe it'll take both of them a little bit of time. But I don't know. I think it's like you said, Patrick Mahomes is somebody who can make anybody look special.
Yeah.
So really, it's up to me. It's just going to be kind of whoever he's feeling and whoever needs to get the job done. So definitively, I don't know who's going to be the number one on this team, aside from Kelsey.
Yes. Okay. My last question. If defense wins championships, then how far will this team go exactly in the playoffs? Super Bowl, conference championship, second round, or maybe they enter as a wild card and get eliminated that first round. Wild card round. What are your thoughts?
With how stacked this division is, I think it's going to be the most entertaining division.
Exactly. That's why I have this question up here, because then most people, without thinking, they'd be like, oh, conference championships or Super Bowl for sure. But you can't say that right now with how stacked the division is.
Yeah, and not jumping ahead or anything.
It's a crazy possibility, but it is a possibility that they could be trying to get into the playoffs as the number 4 in this division.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
With the added wild card, it is possible. But it would be hard. It would be hard to do. It'd be a lot of other teams losing in other divisions. But I mean, that's just a crazy scenario. But this division. That's how stacked this division is. And let's go ahead and get on to the next one. Okay, we're talking Denver Broncos. Bronco country. Let's ride. Finished 7-10 last year. That was without Russ, obviously. Top 15 rushing defense, top 10 passing, top 15 rushing offense, sorry, and then top 10 passing defense. This whole time, I apologize about the midget running around in the background. Pandora's trying to eat bugs, and she's fascinated, trying to intervene with nature. But moving on. Speaking of nature, Teddy Bridgewater, he's out of here. You know, we got someone else in. Teddy Bridgewater did throw for 3,000 yards, but there's a new man in town. Russell Wilson also threw for 3,000 yards, but his touchdown interception ratio was a lot better. 25-6 was Russ's. Moving on to the running back, two-headed dragon. Both had over 900 yards last season. Identical attempt in the backfield split. Literally identical. But Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, that's who I'm talking about. That's the duo. But I do have a bold prediction that eventually, this team's eventually just going to run. Javonte Williams was a rookie last year. They're going to run main snaps through him. Melvin Gordon will kind of be a third down. And Javonte Williams was a little better in the receiving back. So I think they will just eventually just put a workhorse name on Javonte and make Melvin a damn good backup if necessary, kind of like Kareem Hunt to Nick Chubb. Moving on to the receivers. No more Tim Patrick, out for the season. Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. But we talked about in Corey's video. No more Noah Fant. So Albert has to step up. Sorry. Oof. Thought the cricket was in her cage. Here, it's in my damn throat. Defensively, again, talked about no more Shelby Harris, who was the sack leader for this team. No Malik Reed, no Malik Von Miller. But this secondary is a dog, so they're going to step up. And then in the draft, they drafted outside linebacker Nick Bonito. That's what I would say. From Oklahoma. And then Greg Dulcich, tight end out of UCLA. Questions. How do you think Russ does from here? Does he have enough weapons? We all know Russ's talent. I want to talk about his weapons that he has. Do you think it's enough?
Yeah, I mean, we all know Russ is going to be Russ, but I think they'll be fine at running back, like you mentioned. Both almost nearly 1,000 yards. I think they'll be okay there. But you also have Sutton, had over 700 yards last year. I think Sutton could be the main receiver if he's not considered the main receiver already.
Yes.
I think somebody like him is just going to outshine everybody else. Unfortunately, Jerry Jeudy only played 10 games last year. Like you mentioned, had about 500 yards. So I think to answer your question just head on, I don't think they have enough weapons. Running back, they're good. Wide receiver, I think they could use somebody with more of a bigger name. Yeah. Sounds weird to say it like that, but you know what I mean.
He's always had his Lockett before, though.
Exactly. You have Lockett, DK Metcalf, both of those. And maybe they just need to establish that. But I don't know, and we talked about this with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if there's a clear day-to-day number one receiver.
No. And at tight end, they're going to be more screwed than I thought because like we already Noah Fant's out of there. Albert's got to step up, but the Greg Dulcich, he's already on the IR. So, I mean, they're going to be a little bit more screwed. The rookie they just took in the second round. So, they're a little more screwed than I thought they were. But on this squad, I don't think he's going to be running for his life nearly as much. So, maybe a cleaner pocket is what Russ needs to get it to some receivers that aren't really the greatest out there. Like you said, no big names, that's for sure. All right, next question. Do you agree with the Williams takeover? Javonte Williams, identical split last year. Do you agree, even though their stats were identical nearly too, do you think they're going to keep it a two-headed timeshare or Javonte Williams pulling out in front?
I can see as long as it continues to work well for them, I can see them continuing to split carries. But the second that it goes bad and Melvin Gordon ain't producing as much as they like or whatever, I think they need to say, "Hey, you're our guy."
Okay.
Because if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not broken, but I just think making this guy a workhorse, he's your rookie you drafted last year. Melvin Gordon's eventually gonna want re-signed. He's pretty expensive to be a timeshare, kind of like our Kareem Hunt situation. You eventually cannot keep both.
Yeah.
So I personally think give this young guy a workhorse and see how he can carry this team. See if you need to go into free agency or the draft and draft another big guy to help another timeshare, or if you know this guy can carry it. But next question. Who will pressure the opposing QB for this defense? Because the front's looking not so good. Like I said, the secondary's a dog. Patrick Surtain, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, Ronald Darby, all great fucking coverage and man people. But when you get to the front, obviously Bradley Chubb's right there in the middle. You got Randy Gregory as a linebacker, but you got the rookie Nick Benito. You don't know how that's going to do. Draymond Jones isn't the great. It's just there's going to be no pressure. It's going to be they're going to have all day to just stand in the pocket and throw it.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know what your question was because I don't know how it was worded.
I pretty much answered it. I said, who's going to pressure
Yeah.
this QB? And then I named off a bunch of people who aren't going to do anything.
Yeah.
They do more than me, but
Yeah, this might be a whole new world for Russell Wilson. I honestly I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. I mean, there's not a lot of crazy defenses that are going to be able. I was going to say be able to get to him, but we already talked about it. The teams are going more towards crazy offenses, and if you're not buffing up that defense and making that line as solid as you can, that O line, like you said, he will have all day to throw, and for him, it's going to be amazing coming from running from his life.
yeah. Seattle's notorious for that. But
Yeah.
let's get on to a different team. Las Vegas Raiders. I know Corey for some reason has a weird crush on this team. Finished last year at 10-7 with an intense, not so intense. Could be the greatest tie game ever to send both of them to the playoffs. Like they could have went out there on the field, shook hands, said, let's tie this. Let's both go to the playoffs. Like I said, intense, not so intense. They could have done that. They didn't. They took the win over last year with a field goal, last second field goal to send them to the playoffs. Got eliminated first year. That's what you get. That's what you get. You don't give the fans what we want. You don't get what you want. Anyways, QB Derek Carr. Or the robber from Home Alone, whatever you want to talk about. Is nearing 5K in passing, so that's amazing. The not so amazing part of this 23-14 touchdown to interception ratio needs to improve that in order to have a chance in this stacked division. On the running back, could have had a 1,000-yard season if he was healthy the whole season. Josh Jacobs is who I'm talking about. He finished third on this team for reception as a running back. So he's a legit PPR option. I love Josh Jacobs. I'm almost positive. I didn't get a chance to look back over the league lately, but I'm almost positive I took him in our fantasy league this year, and I'm very happy with that decision. Speaking of with happy decisions, I'm sure Derek Carr's happy with this decision. They got a new addition in the wide receiver room with Davante Adams. So Marv has a lot more receptions. And Renfrow is going to have to share some of those targets, and we'll see how greedy he is. He had 100 reception, 1,000 yards. Renfro's a legit wide receiver in this league, and I feel like he's an always overlooked name. But now he's compared with Davante Adams, who's been the definition of consistency. Tight end, you got Darren Waller, Foster Moreau. Really going to be the only people you need to pay attention to catching the ball on this team. On the defense, in the middle of the pack, legit like dead middle, rushing and passing. So not so good. Lost a couple good pieces on defense. Hayward, Ngankwe, Littleton, some tackle leaders, some sack leaders. It's not looking good for this defense, but the offense is very legit, and I think this defense is still good enough with losing those pieces to still be in a good spot with this division. They had no picks into the third round, so thank you, John Gruden. Then they took an offensive guard, Dylan Parham, out of Memphis. Then in the fourth, they took their backup running back, who is Zamir White, out of Georgia. Nick Chubb, my boy, we all know what Georgia running backs can do. And my question's for you, Corey. I know your love for Derek Carr, so I'll start with this very easy. How deep do you go on Carr's shaft when he throats you?
All the way.
All the way. Okay. Next question. Another team like the Chiefs, offense heavy, defense declining. Which team finishes better? Flat out. I want one answer. Which team?
Which team finishes better?
Chiefs or
basically
Raiders?
Raiders or Chiefs?
Yep.
I think Raiders got a good shot at it.
Oh, okay. Renfrow or Adams with the better numbers at the end of the season? Which one?
Obviously, I'm going to go Davante Adams, but you have the best wide receiver in the NFL and literally the most creative, best route runner in the league, Renfrow. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's talk about this. I got to do it fast, but it's my favorite talk of the whole thing. I'm talking the Chargers, the best team in this division. They're going to take over. They finished the last year with that anticlimactic game I just talked about. They finished that season at 9-8. They missed the playoffs, but this is my lock team of the fucking year. If you're going to make any bets, you're betting on this team for that win, because I honestly think they have a good shot of winning with the best record. That's how much I like this team. QB Justin Herbert, still probably going through puberty. We've all seen the acne, bro. You're rich, get some product. It'll clear right up. 5K yards last year. 38-15 touchdown interception ratio. Legit is legit. Moving on to running back Austin Eckler, 900 rush yards, 12 touchdowns. PPR God. 70 receptions, 647 yards, 8 touchdowns to add on top of that. So if you're in a PPR league, you're that dude in the yellow suit just rubbing his hands waiting for a Dollar General to open up or something. Like when you're taking Austin Eckler at fantasy, you're rubbing your hands. Birdman, anybody that's licking their lips, rubbing their hands, Austin Eckler all day. Wide receiver, you got 2 1,000-yard receivers in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen had 30 more receptions than Mike, but Mike had 12 more yards and 3 more touchdowns. You do the math. I'm too dumb to do it. You see analytically who's a better guy to take on fantasy. Me, I'd go Williams just because of the receptions alone. That's 30 points alone. Moving on to the defense. Almost a top 10 pass defense. The Russian defense needs a lot of work. Their biggest loss this year was Kaiser White, their lead tackler, but they got J.C. Jackson from New England, and they added the beast that is Khalil Mack. Let's look at their draft, because I didn't type any of that up because there was a lot. First round, they took Zion Johnson, offensive guard out of Boston College. No second round. Third round, they had J.T. Wood, safety out of Baylor. Fourth round, that's who I wanted to get to, was Isaiah Spiller, running back out of Texas A&M. Definitely going to get some burn for this team with Austin Eckler being the lone main back right now. So definitely look for him. And then my question's for you. Am I 100% right about them finishing first in the division? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, he agrees. Okay, I like it. Is Austin Austin Eckler, arguably better fantasy option than Derrick King Henry.
Yeah, I mean, they just use him better. Dude's a double-edged sword.
I do think
Good
you need
thing.
to run a little bit more. That'll help out Justin Herbert and
Well,
Austin Eckler, but they got it going on with passing to him out of the backfield because damn, 70%.
yeah, it also depends on if you're in a PPR league or not.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, PPR, God.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Did you know that the Chargers also just signed Sony Michel to now arguably have the best backfield in the league? This was just announced yesterday or today.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. I think it's a good pick. Not crazy. They'll use him when they need
Just
to,
a
but
late pickup in the offseason, just very like a week before the season starts. You're just like, I'll add Sony Michel. Okay.
yeah, I mean, when Eckler needs his rest, that's not a bad person to put in. So I like it.
I like the Georgia running backs. I do. I obviously like Nick Chubb a lot. That explains 90% of it, but all right. Jesus. Okay, I'm getting lost in my desktop. I had one more question for you. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, your first answer was yes on the question number 1, which I did not think I was going to get a yes from you. So the question number 4 was, do you believe me yet about this prediction? Like,
Did you hear question 1?
But
No,
no,
I mean
this is the best
it's
division in
hard.
the league.
Yeah, and it's hard not to have faith in the Chargers when you have a well-rounded team, good quarterback in Herbert,
And
great receivers.
only added in the offseason. Only
Oh, absolutely.
obviously they technically did lose a person, but like the talent for talent, I feel they added. But woo, I have cotton mouth, boy. I was born a rambling man, but we're out of here. AFC West, we got one more. North coming at you pretty quick. Like I said, we got one more week before the start of the season. I'm ready to do some betting. I've been rubbing my hands a lot.
Oh,
I got Corey on the other side. Sports Beast, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Check him out. Look him up. Message him. Stalk him. Do whatever you want to do to him. I don't care. But I do care is about you hitting that subscribe button and looking me up on those exact same platforms. I'm out of here for now. Peace.